What up, fam? Today we're talking about the brand new God of War rumor, and it's super exciting. What rumor, you may ask? Well, I'm proud to tell you that there's potentially going to be a spin-off with Kratos' late wife, Faye. Now, I know we finally get to play as a pure-blooded giant. Not sure how they're gonna make her death work, but, you know, fantasy. And I understand that people have been hoping for another realm to play in, or to even play as Loki. But I'm totes excited. Wait. Something is wrong. It's wrong. No. I said I wasn't gonna talk about this again. You can't make me. You can't make me.
No, they can't make me do it. They can't. It's been 10 months, No.
I never claimed anywhere to be a writer on God of War Ragnarok. I claimed to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio. I never claimed
make me do it.
anywhere to be a writer on God of War Ragnarok. I claimed to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio. I never claimed anywhere to be a writer
if I'm
on
gonna
God
do
of War
this,
Ragnarok. I claimed to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio. I never claimed anywhere
I better
to
be
a writer
ready.
on God of War Ragnarok. I claimed to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio. I never claimed anywhere to be a writer on God of War Ragnarok. I claimed to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio. I never claimed anywhere to be a writer on God of War Ragnarok. I never claimed anywhere to be a writer.
Whew! It's really dusty down there. So many of you might be a little confused. So I'll fill you in a little bit of the lore. 10 months ago, I started a 3-part series where I caught Alanah Pearce deleting clips from her podcast that suggested she wrote on God of War Ragnarok.
For writing, I think I'm allowed to say.
There's at least
I'm not
one
allowed to
boy
say.
in
I'm not
there
allowed
that's
to
yours.
say what. I can say. I wrote some supportive content, and I'm not allowed to say what.
I then caught her saying that she built pieces of Kratos' lore and that it was incredibly cool.
To work with characters that I knew from when I was a kid, like getting to build pieces of Kratos' lore is incredibly cool.
Now, some people have speculated that this is in regards to the God of War Ragnarok cookbook that she did confirm to write on at Sony Santa Monica Studios. Now, look, I can even agree that writing a cookbook and participating in the lore of a famous franchise in any way is a dream come true. And I do commend her on her team's award for accessibility. Because as someone who has worked with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, I commend that service. Even though you did equate parenting to having a disability. Hi, Editing Nobody here. As you can tell, I'm editing nobody because I have a blue tie. You're about to see a clip from a video that I have now learned Alanah completely obliterated from the internet. Granted, in her I got canceled because of disabilities video, she does include the clip in question. I just want to inform the public because this is a continuation of Alanah Pearce continuing to delete her past transgressions. And of Alanah Pearce, if you ever do watch this video, I'd like to know why you are so retarded, and I'd like you to refer to this chart. I have a feeling you have a situational disability.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. It is a situational disability that you have, where the game not having the option for you to be able to pause, for example, is a hindrance for your particular disability, a situational disability. You may need to pause to stop your kid from putting a fork into a socket, a power outlet.
Alanah, parenting isn't a disability, it's a responsibility. Like hitting that like button, haha! But this video isn't just to hash over old accusations like pretending you didn't get caught red-handed plagiarizing someone else's work, but to see if your past claims have come to fruition as someone who also claims to have experience being a writer for a AAA studio. Because just like you said in a video,
I never claimed anywhere to be a writer on God of War Ragnarök.
And just to run it all home,
I claim to be a writer at Santa Monica Studio, but they are accusing me of specifically lying about being a writer on God of War Ragnarök. Again, a thing I never said.
that is the very interesting distinction, which Smash JT points out in the video that you claim you didn't watch.
She tweeted on January 20th, 2025, "I'm aware it's fairly pointless to address this because if you fall for the BS, I think you've actively chosen to. But yes, I was a writer on a AAA game at Sony's Santa Monica for 4 straight years. I created characters, developed main plot lines, wrote levels, etc. I work with hundreds of people who can and do support this. Anyone who tells you I fabricated this or quote-unquote only worked on a cookbook is an idiot." Which you read that and it's just disingenuous because now you're saying you worked on a game from Sony Santa Monica instead of saying you worked on God of War as a writer. So people are like, okay, which one is it? It's just like we can't take anything she says seriously. It's disingenuous.
On Katie Sackhoff's podcast, you relished on what it was like working at Sony Santa Monica Studios from 2020 to 2024, and you shared your experiences and what it was like being a writer there. But during that podcast, you said something very interesting.
So, for example, if I wrote something where I want to have and again, this is maybe before other departments get involved, I want to have a horse move in a certain direction. Maybe that's already part of the story and this horse is involved here. And then when the other technical departments start getting involved and they get assigned an area or a chunk of the game that they are going to specifically work on, maybe an animator says that what that horse does in this particular section is going to be so difficult to animate because of this particular thing, you have to change it.
Now this is actually where I got the idea that maybe she wrote for an upcoming game for the God of War franchise, or a brand new IP. And I want to make it very clear that when I started writing this video, it was with the intent to promote that theory, and that there was a plausible explanation because while Smash was reacting to one of my videos, believe it or not, about her, a developer reached out to him live and said something that is pretty pertinent to this video.
I have a message from a source just clarifying something for all to know, because this is the way I thought it worked in the game industry, because this is how it was when I was there, but they are confirming this. This is somebody that also works in the industry. And they said, if a game is released, you are allowed to say what you worked on. It was always that way. Only unreleased or future projects cannot be discussed, which is the way I understood it as well, which is why I've always been so confused how she's been like, oh, I can't talk about this or that or this. And then she does anyway. That's just very strange. But anyway.
So I'm thinking, hey, there's a chance. Maybe there's vindication for Alanah Pearce, and her horse remarks sounded very God of War-like, and maybe she didn't write for the game, but due to her NDA, she had to be specific on the language that she used, and that maybe her game just needed to be announced or released. Well, that was the original intent of this video. Till I dug a little deeper. About last month, as most of you know, the PlayStation Showcase revealed that there were going to be remakes for the original God of War trilogy, as well as a 2D co-op game called Sons of Sparta. And looks like Alanah reacted to that showcase. So Alanah, did you write on the remake trilogy?
Finally. They waited so long to announce it. Why did they wait so long? Even I'm stoked about this. Very, very, very excited about it. Did not work on it in any capacity, to be clear, but obviously I knew about it the whole time.
Okay. Alanah, did you write on Sons of Sparta?
Very cool. Very cool. I did not work on that.
Let me get this straight, Alanah. From 2020 to 2024, you were a writer for a AAA company where you claimed to have created characters, developed main plot lines, wrote levels, etc., etc., etc. You may know this as a professional, but the typical production cycle for a AAA game is 3 to 7 years, maybe up to 10, usually around that 7-year mark. And the 2 productions that have been announced, you didn't even fucking write on. And right now I'm thinking, in regards to writing for anything at Sony Santa Monica Studios, it kind of sounds like that you, in particular,
didn't do shit.
And look, Alanah, I understand that, you know, you're doing the voiceover thing, you know, being a vocal actor, and you have, you're working with other game devs. You have a really small team of, what, 3 or 4 at the time of the recording of this video? But I cannot believe that someone who spent 4 years, said they created characters and all this other jazz, said they worked with hundreds of people specifically for writing, and there's still nothing. So that leads me to the question, Alanah, what the fuck did you even do? And the only project that we can surmise that you potentially had worked on is this rumor that Faye was going to be a spin-off game. And honestly, I can't imagine, you know, who would have thought of a God of War game without, you know, the God of War. Oh, and to just a little cherry on top here. I know you say you didn't work with the game, so this is to Sony Santa Monica Studios. This is Deborah Ann Wall. You might also know her as Karen Page from the new Daredevil series, okay? But look at her. She is fucking beautiful. And what you did to her, I don't know why, you just were like, hey, you know what? Let's make her face fatter and give her a little bit of eczema. Do you guys just really hate beautiful women over there at the AAA industry? That's, I really want to know that. Anyway, what do I know? I'm just nobody.